Hi everyone, I'm FMGreeno and welcome to the Greeno Tour, my FM21 European Journeyman series. Now in addition to managing Roma, in the summer I took on the England job, and today is a very special episode as we play our first matches as England manager. Nations League fixtures, we're taking on France, who are second ranked in the world, and Scotland, who are 42nd. Now currently, we are the first ranked team in the world. Whether that remains so under my stewardship remains to be seen, of course, but I'm looking forward to it. Let's get into it. You can see here, in this virtual world, England have been very successful recently. They were the winners of the World Cup in 2026 and the Euros in 2028. But in 2030, they stumbled in the World Cup, getting knocked out by the USA in the knockout stages. That was enough to cost the manager his job. They offered it to me. I also got offered the Italy job, actually, but I decided to go with the England one. So, we've got a fairly strong squad with some familiar names, I'm sure. Still kicking around in there are some players who play for England in real life. We have the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, we've got Declan Rice, Phil Foden, Mason Greenwood. There's Ramsdale on the bench here today, Tomori, Lewis Cook at the age of 33. Probably heart ruling the head a little bit with that one, me being a Bournemouth fan and everything. We've got Curtis Jones, Jude Bellingham, Jadon Sancho, Rashford still kicking around in his early 30s. And another familiar name for you guys who follow in the Roma series, Max Grice, of course, our main centre-half at Roma. So I think overall, it's a pretty strong squad. Like I say, they're ranked first in the world, so they're obviously no mugs. Getting on a little bit, though, so we might have to start looking at some of the new gens who are coming through and seeing which of the old guard they're going to replace. But this is how we're going to set up against France today. So we've got a guy called Hamilton in goal. He plays for Burnley, so not exactly a big name, perhaps, in the game, but he's about the best goalkeeper we've got. Livramento, you'll remember, I signed for Köln, and he's still there. He's actually better as a right back, but today I'm going to play him as a left back, because of course we've got Trent at right back, Reece James and Max Grice at centre half. In the defensive midfield role, we've got a guy, Andreas Constantinou, plays for Chelsea. He's a fairly solid option in that kind of role, I think. Declan Rice and Phil Foden in midfield. They don't need a lot of introduction, do they? Angel Gomez is playing out on the left-hand side for us. He's a very, very strong player. Greenwood, probably the best player in the whole squad, if I'm honest. At age of 28, still some good years in him. Plays for PSG nowadays. He's going to start out on the right-hand side. And we have this guy, Grogan, Man United striker, playing up front. Some of his attributes here are pretty frightening looking, aren't they? So, expecting big things from him. Anyway, let's head over to the stadium. We're taking on France today. It's a tricky one. Let's see how we get on. And so here we are in Paris. Huge game gets underway. Some fairly familiar names still in the French lineup. You'll see Mbappe still playing, Camavinga, Aouar, Aït-Nouri, Todibo, Koundé. So, yeah, I guess they're aging a little bit like we are. We are kind of 10 years in the future here. Pretty excited to have this opportunity, to be honest. I didn't even apply for the job. They just approached me out of the blue. Like I say, Italy did the same. Compared the two squads. Just decided England was the better fit. And of course, you know, being English, that kind of helps, I guess. And not much happening in this game so far, is there? I think we're going to give them a little shout of encouragement. And hope we can see some highlights at some point. Well, it doesn't look like my wish for highlights is coming true in the first half. Two very evenly matched teams. Oh, here is one right at the end, though. Not cleared, and France have scored. How are we? Had an opportunity there to get the ball clear. It was not taken. And France took full advantage of that. So a free kick came in from Aouar. There, Constantinou, he had the opportunity to clear it and just smashed it against another player. Dropped to Aouar, and he gives France an advantage right on half-time. So that's not the greatest start for us. So let's get in and see if we can get the boys a little bit more motivated. Of course, having just taken over this job, they are not really listening to anything I have to say just yet. I have to gain their confidence somewhat. A couple of the guys are inspired, a couple are motivated. The keeper's having a tough old day by the looks of it. Let's get underway for the second half. Hope for better times to come. Well, the second half has been just as dull so far as the first half was. I think it's time for us to make a couple of changes here. So let's have a little look at what we can do. Pretty much everybody going forward for us is having a bad day. Livramento at left back similarly. We might have to think about taking him out. Max Aarons can certainly play out on the left. Again, he's right-footed. We are struggling for left backs a little bit. But he's probably the best option we have. We'll give him a go. Who else can we try? Jadon Sancho possibly, or Rashford. Let's give Sancho a run. And let's take out one of these midfielders. Foden's not having a great day either. It suggests Curtis Jones, but I don't think that's the best shout. We're going to give Jude Bellingham a little while. So, 20 minutes to go. Can we get back into this game? Well, the changes I've made have made absolutely no impact whatsoever. What a terribly dull game that was for my first game as England manager. Sadly, it ends in defeat in France, 1-0. On to the Scotland game next. So, going into this Scotland game, I have made a couple of changes to the lineup. Constantino is a little tired now, so he drops out of the side. I've dropped Rice into that half-back role, and Curtis Jones comes in as a Metzala in the middle of midfield. Max Aarons is going to start at left-back in place of Livramento. And another change on the left-hand side, we're going to play Rashford. He comes in place of Gomez. So, other than that, I think we ought to give the boys an opportunity to redeem themselves after that pretty dismal game against France. So we're going to head off to the stadium, welcoming Scotland to Wembley. Should be a feisty one. So, here come the sides. Pretty packed Wembley Stadium there. Interestingly enough, there's a couple of familiar faces in this Scotland lineup too. You'll notice Hickey here playing at left back for them. Of course, we had him at Luton Town. And for those of you with a longer memory than that, there is a guy called Dane Murray playing in the middle of their midfield, who we had at Stirling Albion at the start of the game. He was on loan from Celtic, if I remember rightly. I think we used him mainly as a centre-back, as an 18-year-old. So obviously his career has come on leaps and bounds, and he's now playing international football. So good to see him again. Looks like we have made a very positive start to this game. Rashford in the 8th minute, making the most of his opportunity, coming into the side today. Nice passing move here. Nice 1- and 2-touch football. And Rashford does not miss with given opportunities like that, does he? So, a good start to the game. Throw in here for Scotland. Hopefully they don't make too much of this opportunity. Back with Billy Gilmore. That's a good ball out to the right-hand side. I guess they'll be trying to focus down there a little bit. Again, we have a right-footed player playing at left-back, so not ideal. Here's Grogan, the Man United striker. What's he going to do? He has been fouled. That has to be a penalty. Not even going to VAR. And who's stepping up to take this? It is Rashford. And he tucks it away, and that's his second inside 20 minutes. Well, I think he's making a decision for me for the next game, isn't he? I think I know who's going to start on that left-hand side. Very, very well struck penalty there. And the opportunities keep coming. The 22nd minute now. Scotland pinched the ball off us, but we've won it back there with Declan Rice. Tried a through ball, but unfortunately just a little bit too much pace on it. But here comes Grogan again. He's won the ball in midfield. Oh, and well tipped over by the Scottish keeper there. Very good save. Phil Foden to take the corner. Rashford there. Greenwood back to Foden. There's Rashford again. We're going the wrong direction, though, and the highlight comes to an end. Nice little triangle there between the boys. James looking for a ball out of defence, but only finds a Scotland player. Here's Foden out to Rashford. Grice, he gives the ball away this time. And we've won it back once more. Here's Curtis Jones with a bit of space to run into. Oh, and he smashed that one just over the bar, though. Throw in here. Grice to take. It's not ideal. Puts him a little bit out of position. Oh, we should have scored there, though. Grogan clean through. First time shot, but just off target. I think overall this first half has been very, very positive. Just coming up towards it now. Oh, there's one last little highlight before then. Here's Greenwood. Finds Foden. Back to Jones. Rice. Out to Aarons. Obviously cuts back onto his right foot. There's space out on the right if they can find it. Come back this way. There's Foden trying to get the ball in. It's cleared. But we keep the pressure on. Rice back out to Aarons. He gives it away, but won it back. Is he going to have a pop himself? No. Alexander-Arnold does, though, and another fine save. So, that's half-time then. We have been absolutely dominant in that first half. Scotland have offered almost nothing. I think we can go in and give them a... Yeah, I think we're pleased with the performance. That's probably the best thing. And straight back out for the second half. Rice and Foden and Trent, to be honest, are starting to look a little weary. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So here's Jones on the ball on the right-hand side. Puts it back to Rice. Foden in space. That's a better effort this time. And again, tipped over by McDonald in the Scottish goal. He is having a great game, isn't he? And another save. Goodness me. Corner in from Foden. And this time it amounts to nothing. So, it's time to make a couple of changes. Let's go and see who we've got available. So, Foden is struggling. I think we might give Angerin a go. We've not seen anything of him yet. And who else is struggling a little bit for fitness? I think everyone else is okay for now. We might make another couple of changes in 5 or 10 minutes' time. Just keep an eye on people's conditions. Overall, this has been a really dominant performance, hasn't it? Look at that. 21 shots, 9 on target for us. And more to come here. Grice nods it just wide. Okay, so we're going to take Trent off. He's spent. And I think, I tell you what, we'll bring Livramento on his favoured right-hand side. Give him 15 minutes. He was very pleased to make his debut in the last game, so good to get a few more minutes experience under his belt. Another save by the Scottish keeper once again. What would the scoreline be without him, huh? All he's done is giving it back to us, though. Angerin out to Greenwood. And it's in, and Grogan scores. So that's 3-0 to England now. And I don't see any way back into this game for Scotland whatsoever. I've just noticed in the other game in our Nations League group, it's 3 apiece between Croatia and France. So that's quite a game, isn't it? Wish our game against France had been a bit more like that. Could this be an opportunity for Scotland finally? No, it doesn't look like it. Promising position for them. Well, they have won the ball back again, though. Greenwood wins that, though, and Grogan is through. Can he finish? It's a tame effort, really. McDonald didn't have to do a lot to save that one. Okay, we're going to make one final change here. Greenwood is going to come off. And I think we're going to give... Maybe we'll give this other youngster, Andrew Brearley, a run. I think he plays for Manchester United as well. So we'll give him a few minutes. The game is very, very much over already, mind. 3-0 up, and Scotland have only had 1 shot all game. So that's about as comfortable as we could have expected. And I'm very, very pleased with that result. So where does that leave us right now? Well, we're in third in the group. Croatia and France obviously played out that draw, both having won their first games. So they're on 4 points. We're only a point behind. We've got Croatia up next, so it'll be important to get a win in that game. And Scotland, I think, is our other game in that international break. So yeah, hopefully we can get 2 wins in there and be challenging for that top spot in the group. Of course, if you do finish top in the group, that takes you into a little tournament where you determine who the winner of the Nations League is. We just have to avoid finishing bottom here. We don't want to get relegated down to Group B, that's for sure. But this international break isn't where we're going to come back, of course. We still have Roma to deal with. And there's 2 big games coming up for them right now as well. Obviously, we lost against Juventus in the first game of the season, 4-3. But we have Milan at home in the league and Valencia at home in our first Champions League game. Champions League draw has given us Valencia, Arsenal, and our old friends FC Köln. So that'll be interesting. We'll have to catch one of those games for sure. But Milan and Valencia is where we're going to come back for that. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was good to meet the England squad. Pretty close game against France. Not very entertaining, of course, but a much better performance against Scotland, that's for sure. If you did enjoy it, please drop a like on there for me. And if you've got any comments about this episode, how you think we're going to do with Roma this season, or England, in fact, then drop them in the comments section below. And of course, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, click that button and come and hop on the Greenobus. There's plenty of room for you all. Just remains for me to thank you for watching, and I will see you soon for some more action with Roma. Bye for now.